Get it? What's going on? What's going
What's
on?
up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh man, just another season. Another season. We are back with Face Off Around the Culture. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing amazing, man. I'm glad we're back, man. It's been a long time off.
Yes. And as you see, each year we get a little bit better, you know what I'm saying, with the technological updates. So, you know what I'm saying, we streaming on multiple platforms. You can see us now versus just the
Right.
audio, but we still want you guys to connect in the chat and join the conversation as we talk about the National Battle of the Bands, the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands this year. Kicking off the band season. I'm excited for this year, bro. How you feeling about this band year from what you're seeing from the bands popping out? What you thinking?
Man, this rollout has been crazy from this National Battle of the Bands. We got a next week. We got two more Battle of the Bands coming, and then we seen bands do rollouts of all types this year. So bands are coming hard. Bands want to be seen, and they out here and they performing. So
Yes,
I'm
sir.
really excited for this season, man. We got some great matchups later on, and even some great matchups we just had this past weekend with this National Battle of the Bands. Brought to you by Pepsi. These bands didn't let you forget.
I put that in my notes. I knew we was gonna talk about that. We always talk about the bands making the sponsor name. But first, of course, we want to shout out Face Off. It's a Face Off on all social media. You know what I'm saying? That's who it's presented by. But yeah, man, like you said, bro, I'm excited for the band season. Just of course, just another time for us to talk about and get into the competition. Um, okay, this year we can
Right.
go ahead and jump right into it. So every episode we kind of have a theme or kind of a question or something that we go back to just because it's just it keeps us on our toes and it keeps for the listeners that want to chime in, it's a good thing for the night. So I think the theme of the night is, and since we just came out of band camp, is um did you work on camp or did camp work on you?
Oh, that's a great one. That's
Yes,
a good
sir.
one.
Did
That's
you
a great
work in camp or did camp work on you? And I think that is what this week showed us. It was a lot of bands that popped out, and this was a great event. Okay, so I actually like how they had it formatted this year with the
one.
bands on
Okay.
each side. I thought that was a lot better.
Hmm.
What you think about the stand portion, kind of intermediate, in between the field? What you think about that?
I really enjoyed that, man. They spread it around. You got this type of stadium setting, the dome. You got people all on both sides, and it gives people a chance to hear bands on both sides and hear everything that's going on, as well as I guess while you there is I think it's a good effect of you got bands this way and then you look around
Right.
you got bands that way. I think
Mhm.
it puts like an added engagement effect while you're there. So I really enjoy that, and I appreciate them every year trying to do a little something different to keep the event moving forward. So
Yeah, I agree with that. And just see bands sitting beside each other, like real
right.
close to each other, it just gives that kind of. Okay. So, they gotta have the small band. You
That's how we
gotta start
started
with the
it off.
small band. And we're gonna go back and forth as far as like stands and field, but we're gonna like stick with the field because the field got the more, something
Yeah,
that we can pull from how we think the band is gonna be from the show,
right.
both. Virginia State. Virginia State started off. Okay. We're just gonna read through our notes. I thought they had an overall good show. They had a lot of good energy in the stands.
Mm.
Like really. Okay. They start the show off with the same fanfare. And I know a lot of schools do this. How do you feel about this? I'm starting to think that's starting to get annoying, bro. Because
Mm.
I know that Jackson does. I know that a lot of people do it. And what do you think about that? Because I feel like a show should like excite you from the jump. And I feel like we're hearing the same thing over years. Though it can be something that's school pride. It seems like something that I don't know. It seems too predictable for a lot of these bands. What do you think about that? Because Virginia State is one of these bands that does that.
I think like it's either hit or miss, yo. Because if you don't have the fan base to
The
really
fan
support it,
base.
if you don't have the fan
Yeah.
base to support it, it'll fall flat.
Right.
But you went to
Because it's like,
A&T,
what is this song? If it's
like
not. So
when they used to do like when A&T do the Aggie Lean, like and there's a bunch of A&T people in the house, it erupts.
right.
And for the people who aren't familiar, they brings like, oh, what's this? What's going on? But your fan base really not hitting like that, and you form a place like Virginia State. I'm sorry, Virginia State probably doesn't have a lot of fan base that's in Houston right now. I'm just saying that is
Maybe.
what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would have been a smarter move for them to do something different out the gate.
Yeah,
As
but I
far
mean that's one of their signatures. So they did that. They drilled to skate, bro. Virginia State drum. Okay, but you know what we say about small bands. Okay, small bands. It's like you should be trying to fill instrument player positions rather than anything else.
Mhm.
Anything else, but the drum line is too big. Now I put good drum feature. That means it was good, but they are too big in comparison. Now I'm not saying that they drowning them out, just aesthetics wise. Like damn, I'm like this huge ass drum line, smaller band. So I always just think about that. Also too, good band, but horsepower for the reference that they've had as a good tuba section didn't really give it to me as much as they did in the stands. I think on the field. What you think about them? And then we can kind of talk about their ballad. What you think about the beginning of their show?
I really like how they came out with the strong presence on their fanfare. They came out with a lot of confidence. When they first stepped on the field, gave me the feeling like, oh yeah, we supposed to be here just from based on the energy. I also put down the percussion was too much. I think visually it was too much, and I think sound wise it was too much. It started to really drown them out, especially in the first portion of the show. I think their trombones really sounded good opening up too, man.
True.
And I think this tuba section they were strong, but I felt like at parts they could have been overcompensating, they didn't really gel well as be like a unified force.
Mm-hmm.
But they were loud. I will say that. I enjoyed the Silk Sonic drill. I think it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
For what it was worth early on in the season, I think they did pretty good.
All right. Hell yeah. I put the battle was good. They played Baby Come to Me.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. Really, the Bones really like showcased. They have a really good energy as a small band. Then I put they ended on Victory Lap. Now this is what I have a problem with these bands, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we always talk about the worst song to play is the old new song, like the song that was new. It's not that old, like 2 or 3 years ago, as far as like the hype stuff, because it goes so fast. And Victory Lap was one of those songs. I don't think that the arrangement was like a big like closing type of thing. So I didn't like the song choice and the arrangement. And that type of song is something that like it's hard to bring something new, nowadays. And that's something that we gotta talk about too. Originality. And like, of course, we talked about this last season. You competing with the phones and these big battles. You're trying to take people's attention. And that's when we talk about the winner, we gotta talk about who did that the best. Because that is a part of it nowadays too. Like not just put on a good show, but also being able to take your attention from time to time, like section to section, ballot, each time. That's all I got for Virginia State. What else you got for them?
I'm glad you mentioned the from space to space in the show because I really felt that transitions was awkward. I don't know how to put it in words,
right?
Or really dictate specifically what they could have done different or what could have been improved. It was just really abrupt. It didn't seem seamless. Right. It was like, all right, we have the percussion feature, and then we're going right into this. It didn't seem like it transitioned smoothly. It was like we have different parts of the show, and we just smashed them together. But I think they could have been more lyrical on the ballad, man, with the articulations that they were using. It could have been so much smoother. I gave it an overall show. I gave them like a C+. I thought it was all right. It was pretty cool. Nothing wrong, but really nothing stand out as really too good either. I enjoyed it. Is this a show that I probably watch again? Probably not. But I think that they didn't drop the ball. I don't feel like they dropped the ball.
No. I don't think they did either. And to me, what they didn't do on the field, they made up in the stands as far as their energy. I really like their energy in the stands. But yeah, man, I also feel like some of these, like, of course, I just want to see these bands get a lot bigger and kind of just evolve and kind of grow. It seems like they kind of stuck in the same kind of like rut, these kind of like small bands. And we're gonna talk about that throughout the season. All right, let's move on. Who you want to hit on next? I don't know the exact order.
Let's do Valley.
Yes, that was next on my list. Great. Okay. I have a theory about this too. I'm glad that we can talk about this. Mississippi Valley started off the show with a like a loud type of fanfare. Like you really like they really want you to give it the director, and they give you like a long one. It's just like it's supposed to like really like and that's what they were trying to give right now. Mississippi Valley is huge out of nowhere, bro. like huge. So with this band, man, we got to talk about the side effects of getting a bigger band, right? Because in this show, it was a lot of phasing. Like you could tell, like they weren't like comfortable with the size of like the where each other was. But what you think about this show as far as the beginning? They covered the field. So what you think?
Man, noticeably larger. That's the first thing I got in my notes. Noticeably larger. And I think that phasing is what, especially you in an enclosed space, and then you spread the band out, and they got big really fast. So what that just tells anybody, they got a bunch of new people in the band who really not used to this. So that listening aspect, and in this new setting on this stage that we really don't see Valley on as much, it just throws a whole bunch of intangibles in there for a big first show in the season. I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna talk about what I did like first. I really enjoyed how solid their sound was coming out the gate, and how their formation looked, and to give that power. You talked about the big downbeat. I really like that they opened up with that to show like, hey, we are here to show some type of presence. What I really didn't like so much is they weren't marching at all. They really just kind of picking their feet barely off the ground. And it carried on throughout the rest of the show. And another thing is that the marching style, it seem like it's there, but it's not. I can't really identify what it is. And that goes to like another thing. We like bands with identity. So with this new direction, I'm like, okay, you have these numbers. Now is definitely a time to show how is Mississippi Valley different? What is this Valley band? Who are we apart from just cookie cutter swag S band?
Yes, and that's what I was thinking. That's what they're kind of drifting to. And I was hoping like with the smaller band, and thank you, man. You literally just see, man, we be in sync, bro. Because it's literally what I want to talk about. Like when you get to a bigger band, it's harder to keep your identity. You know what I'm saying? You got all these new people. You want to, give it. And then you got like a band director that's probably like, he's like newer to the program, right? I'm sure, not too far away. So you have all that going at once. But of course, hey, bigger, it's better than a smaller band to me. You know me. All right, going back into it. I like that they covered the whole field. Okay, man. They played The Boss as a drill. Love that song. I love when any band plays The Boss. I think that's by Diana Ross. Great song choice, right? I hate the playing away from the audience, and I get it a little bit, but when it's the entire time, it's like I can't enjoy that, So and we can't make excuses because other bands do that. Other bands are intentional. Other bands at this performance were intentional about making sure that the audience hears it fully, or not taken away from it a little bit. I think that's kind of lazy, if you ask me. At sometimes, like I'm not saying you got to do it all the time, but I don't know.
It's hard to balance. I think it's hard to balance, especially because people get into like, well, the tradition versus doing something new and giving the audience something new. So,
and as I was watching it, I was thinking, well, it's probably more about the formations on the field,
right?
Looking at the formations and how they happen and like the illusions and stuff like that, rather than that whole thing. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. Can we talk as a ballad? Okay. We have like a list of songs,
right?
That look. We know that everybody knows these songs. They're like hack songs. And Can We Talk is probably number 3 on that list. But they brought it out because they knew everybody was going to sing. It got the crowd, it didn't fulfill what the crowd was giving. To me, the crowd was giving
the crowd sing it. They say it better than play
than the arrangement. So I feel like as I said, they got the crowd singing, but I don't know. The arrangement didn't live up to the hype. But then I have to talk about translation into being a bigger band. Like that's something that they're gonna have to deal with. But of course, in the stands, they make up with it big. Of course, they just get to stand there and crank up, so it's a little bit easier. But again, that's drifting into that conversation you said about identity. Anything else on Mississippi Valley?
I mean, I put for Can We Talk is a nice selection considering the venue. It's like one of them band cheat
Right?
codes.
Yep. It is. It's a cheat code. It literally is.
You can't really go wrong with it. But then I did feel like you said, the crowd gave more energy to the song than the band did. And it didn't sound like the whole band really knew it when I was really listening to it. It's also if you compare what they drilled to and how that sounded as a band unit and what they did in the Sands versus this, it doesn't sound like the band knew this all the way. It almost sounded like, okay, it's the end of band camp. What we got to do to just, seal this up for the show. And then you pull out the traditional can't lose, can we talk? I don't know, but that's what I would have to say. I gave him overall like a C plus. I think it was a pretty good showing for him first out. I think like just small like fundamentals, man. Like you can't put a price on energy for the show, lifting your legs up, just knowing music. All those little things could have gave them just a better showing, in my opinion. But I think those things will come as they grow as a program.
Quick question and quick side note. We take little side notes in these things just to talk. We just have like little side band conversations. Can you ever like practice for the intensity of like the like the nervousness or like the fear of like it's the now moment? Like I mean, we can say muscle memory, but we watch a lot of things where then somebody's hats fall off or something happens and stuff like that. So, of course, we keep that in mind. I always think about that. Like we practice all the time, but in the moment, man, it's so like it's the moment now. Oh, my hat fell off, or my plume, or flag. I saw people drop flags, and throughout the whole performance, people hats and stuff like that, sticks, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I always keep that in mind. All right. Who you want to get to next, man?
Shoot, I had NSU.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. We just talked about a band that was trying not to face the audience, and Drilling Norfolk is a perfect example of that, bro. Okay, we're from Virginia, right? So, I know that we love this style. I just love that Norfolk keeps this style going and keeps it perfected. Talking about a band on the opposite scale, where we're just talking about who pays attention more to the small things, like the lifting their knees up, the small things that actually like get the presentation going. They do the arms up the whole time. Those things build your identity, and they don't let up on it. You know what I'm saying? The guys with the flags, like it's a whole thing, and they keep it going. So I love seeing them. What you think about this show?
Man, I really enjoyed this show, man. First thing I wrote down was nostalgic, man. They took me back. They really took me back, especially the sound, the presence of sound, how they open up with the real technical piece. It was really nice. They sounded good. I knew Norfolk State was going to be a problem this year, even watching their Family and Friends. They just had that balance this year. The power was there, and the energy and it factor was there in this show, man. So just from the presentation, how they came out, always facing front, high energy, giving. I love when one of my favorite things about this band is when NSU plays in unison. It's really, really nice. It's really like rich, colorful, and still dark sound, man. And it just has this nice like ring to it. So I really enjoy that. And I found it very difficult to critique a lot of things in this show too.
Right.
So I think they were the ones who conquered Bandcamp. They made Bandcamp very useful for them and got a lot done with it. What you think?
Yeah, that literally, like I thought of the idea when I was listening to them, because I was saying like you can tell. I don't think it's that okay. We always talk about people improving throughout the season, right? And that is a true thing, right? Because you have to gel with the people. It's a new situation, and you can get better, right? But if you take advantage of this time in camp, then you can kind of see like when you come out and how good you are. Of course, you can sustain it, but if you can see how good you are, for only a little bit of time, that you can see how good you can get. So it's always good to see that, and I feel like they did that. And like you said, I have the least amount of notes on them. I wanted more from the tubas in a lot of areas, but their trumpets, man, really was very solid this year, man. I'm really excited to see them, and them competing against other bands. So yeah, bro. They had a great show. Great show. I mean, I'll probably give them a B plus.
Yeah, I gave them B plus, A minus, B plus, A minus range.
Yeah. They ended on Many Men, the 50
That
Cent.
was cool.
That was different for them. Bro, can we talk about, okay, since we're not just going to jump from stands, can we talk about them in the stands too, yo? Okay.
Yeah.
These Virginia bands, yo, have a problem with hoarding songs. I don't get why they hoard songs, bro. They played Freak No More. And I felt like that was insulting, yo. Like, I'm like, bro, again, like we talked about, the worst type of songs are songs that are older, but they're not that old. That's a perfect example. It's not like, I don't know. It's just like, know that you had a good arrangement then, and then let's keep on like pushing them out. It's like, to me, when you keep playing good like arrangements that you had back in the past that aren't really like that like popular of a song, it's like it's like we can see that we need new moments like that.
Right.
Like when you put that out, stop instead of chasing that moment. And I feel like a lot of bands do that, and it shows the confidence of maybe the staff. And we talk about that a lot too, as far as like the staff and how like, you know, you feel like you're working against the staff sometimes with the in the program. But yeah, so like I feel like that, you know, I want better arrangements for Norfolk and for this band. Like, you know, they have, like you said, the rich tone when they play together. But sometimes I feel like, one, they're not always giving it all the time, and two, the arrangements are too simple sometimes for them. But yeah, the show, great. I thought the show was great. We can move on. Let's move on to.
Let me talk about them in this. I'm gonna
go ahead.
into the Freak No More comment. I'll give them a pass for this event.
Why you say that?
For the coming out of band camp.
Okay, it's an old one. Yeah, everybody know it. Okay, you're right.
Sorry. If I don't want to hear it, past second week of September.
Right. But they're gonna do that though. They're gonna play it at homecoming. That's my point. Going back to the topic, did you work in camp or did camp work on you? Yes, sir. Keep going, man.
Well, I really enjoyed the entire show. A lot of energy. One thing I will say, I appreciate them that they showed that you can be their euphoniums. You can be powerful and still have control, because a lot of these bands' euphonium sections really doo-dooed on the sound that they've been. I feel like just for being out there so much all of the time, and then you start to hear the bad tones and intonation issues when it's all the time, because people get fatigued, people get tired. It's coming out of band camp, all that good stuff. But they were able to find their places, and when they really need to put that force out there, they was out there. They was sitting on top of the band. But when them trumpets really needed to shine, they were still in the sound, and them trumpets took over. So I really appreciate it for them. I want to give them their props for that.
Yeah. Moving on. Can we move on to Langston?
Yeah, let's talk about Langston.
Look, I saw Langston when I went to this battle in 2021. They were smaller, and to me, since then they've grown a lot, not only in popularity but in size. So I was glad to see their band. This year, this performance, I really did not like from them, and I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like their sound got lost in the stadium. It was hard for me to hear what they were doing and what it was hard for me to. It's like I feel like Virginia State was more clear in their, like, you know, maybe articulations and just clarity of the whole thing. What you think about Langston and their performance?
I agree with you, man. I think they sound compared to what I heard from them last year and this year, it took a downturn. I think their sound really wasn't traveling. I think that has a lot to do with intonation, because when the trumpets first came out, I was just like, oh wow, that was kind of out there. They have the presence, but they really wasn't together like that. They increased in size, and I like to see them. And also, I really have a lot of respect for Langston. I remember I went to, what year was this? Not this past Mardi Gras, but the one before that. They was my favorite band at Mardi Gras, as far as marching in the parade. And I feel they also had the year that battle with Alcorn too. They did really good. I think they really need to step it up as the season moves along. I see a lot of potential in them, but coming out of band camp looking like it did a toll on them more so than they band
Right. Definitely. And them in the stands too. Like, I feel like they had like a lot of good energy in the stands. The director was giving them a lot of good energy, but their arrangements were also kind of like elementary. I feel like too at some points, like because they played the song right before Texas Southern. You could just tell just the difference in like the phrase of that they were playing versus like the first phrase that they were playing. Is like the complexity is like like what are we doing? So I feel like that with Langston too. But of course, that's going back to the identity thing as well. Like getting those players to kind of like buy into a certain system. So moving on. Okay, let's talk about Texas Southern.
Okay.
I feel like Texas Southern was supposed to be like this was supposed to be a better showcase for them. I feel like they were just there, bro. I feel like band camp hit them hard. What you think about Texas Southern? What you think about that?
I was number one. I don't know why, but I expected Texas Southern to be a little bit bigger than what they were.
Me too.
Just coming off of the previous years and now, I was expecting some change. They sounded all right. Nothing really solid. And to be the home band, I really wanted more from them. They gave me a good, solid show, but it really wasn't nothing too much to write home about.
Yeah, the energy in the show too, because halfway through the show, the announcer said, "Houston, give it up," and you can hear like, "Oh," like I'm like, "Damn!" Like this is your home band, and he has to like keep y'all like on it, And you can see, yeah.
I also, what you mentioned with the announcer, they had a lot of drum fills in their show. It was a lot of segments of the show where it was just percussion going and the band marching, and it makes me think like, what's going on there? Like, is it they got so much to prep for in the actual season that they took this one off, or are they behind schedule on these type of things?
Right.
And because keep in mind that we've seen Texas Southern grow, but as far as a completeness of a program, and they've always, in my opinion, for the last couple of years, been on the cusp of that.
Right.
So it made me think like, was this extra work time on trying to get past this, and this performance was more so afterthought to creating the whole concept of the band, because they had a lot of main ingredients that were there that made me feel like, okay, they're working, but this show just ain't it.
Right. And it felt like through the years, past couple of years, like you said, they were on the cusp of it. So it was like this performance to me, I'm like, Texas Southern's about to come out and like, I don't feel like they did that. They just did a regular boring march on. Like we need something from the jump, man. When people say introducing your school name, people want to hear something. People want to people have their phones out. Give me something, band directors. Like we don't, and then you march on. Cool. So I put boring march on. All right. To me, it didn't grab my attention. Right. Did an interesting drill. Now they did a drill I've never seen before, where like everybody went to one line on just a random line, and I don't know. It was a great drill. They had like maybe 8 squads on each side that did not march in. These are instrument players that didn't march in until the dance feature. So I'm like, is that? I promise you, go watch the show. It's squads of instrument players that did not play, but they joined the band during the dance girl concert formation. I'm like, do you think that was the drill had too many people, or they didn't know the songs? I'm like, I thought that was completely odd. that was odd.
I definitely have to go check for that,
bro. Yes, but I literally wrote it down. And as a band person, we know how. We know how y'all do. Y'all add things, move around, move people around different places. So I just thought that was funny. Like literally, when I saw them come in, I'm like, yo, they didn't perform like throughout the half of the show. Either way, I put the energy was the ballad they played "Unthinkable" by Alicia Keys. I don't know if that song is low energy or the arrangement was, but I really feel like it was like long and drawn out. Now, I love the second half of their show. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with like gimmicks. And like when your band is bigger, Langston and Mississippi Valley, you kind of have to do these gimmicky things to kind of hold people's attention. And to me, they did a good job with that. Like they did the a Michael Jackson thing where they had my boy Mr. Jiggarobics, LaDonte Locks, come out and be like a fake, Michael Jackson with the kids. It was great. Like it was a good, when people are looking down, I was like, oh, it's something, that I can kind of So I thought that was good. So I really like the second half of the show, and they ended strong. What you think about Texas Southern?
I agree with you on all your points. One thing I want to point out as far as them and these other bands. What do you think about um the 50th anniversary hip hop dance routines that we seen? So, because Texas Southern came out with the big Run DMC with the big gold chain and the hat on, and
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting and cool. Like it put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. And I thought it was interesting, especially with the year. I kind of expected that, so it was
Yeah.
good to see that. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that aspect, and they brought some energy on it. I really it made me think of to back to I think their Honda show where they really took it as far as energy wise, and I really wanted some more of those aspects. That's what I really thought I was going to get from Texas Southern in this performance, but I thought it was really good.
Right. Yeah. Shout out Texas Southern, man. Like I said, I'm excited to see what they do this season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into. I think this is one of the best bands of the night. Tennessee State.
Mm.
I think they sounded great, man. You could always expect Tennessee State to sound just like clean, yo. You can always expect them just to give it, park it in constant formation and really like hit you with some good shit. So I thought that was great. The only notes it was hard for me to like critique them. It was hard for me to really like get something going. They are another band that starts with the same song for the field show every year. But they was deep in there though, so it kind of it kind of added to it. I put great ballad, which just got in great tubas. Man, tubas great. I think probably the best tubas of the night out of any band. Just because, just from what I was hearing, when you hear the tubas more, you're like, damn, like when you hear more than usual, that's when you know, like, okay, yeah, these guys are going. So, what do you think about Tennessee State?
I really enjoyed this show, man. I like when they put the big T, the Tennessee T on the field. The sound was very present. Sounds so good, man. They sound really good. I really enjoyed their sound as far as this year. I like that they played both sides. They did starting their drill. They did some squads facing one side and some squads facing the other side. So I thought that was really creative as far as trying to get their sound across to the whole venue. I thought the baritone sound, especially in the upper register, could improve because I heard some cracking or like a lot of thinness up there. But it's early on. I get it. I really like when they played the way they had the mellophone section really did their job, man. I feel like they was present, but they wasn't overbearing as far as like the counter melody that they had in there. So I really think that was cool. And what is the dancer feature? The Beyonce song was Sweet Dreams.
Yeah.
Yep, I enjoyed that too. So I really enjoyed that show thoroughly. Good sound. I didn't have them being the best. I gave it like a B plus. But
I didn't have them being the best, but when they were done, I said, man, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I said that was really good.
So yeah, I think that I remember we talked about like Tennessee State last year, and they said, 2-time Grammy winning band. This gave me more of that type of feeling than the other previous time.
But see, look, Tennessee State stepping into that identity. Like they literally have like niched out like a smooth sound, type of sound, type of band, and they're really moving in their identity. So they're like a really good band to like see how they're moving. So shout out to the staff. You can tell they have a good staff. Okay. FAMU.
What do you think about FAMU?
Bro, FAMU, of course, they give it to you like they always give it to you, man. I thought it was good. The only thing I didn't like, I feel like their drill, like they move around songs a lot, and I feel like when you keep moving songs, it gets like it can get lost. It's like you don't really care. I don't know. I don't say it's like you don't really care, but it's like it just changes the whole mood. And I feel like they could have lined them up a lot better. Like they did that. They played 2 completely different songs, and then they went to a Tina Turner like tribute where they put Tina on the field. I felt like what's going on here? So, I mean, I don't know, man. FAMU just doesn't move me as a band. Like they don't give it to me like even in their identity of like the smoothness of like FAMU and like the precision and everything. I don't know. I don't know. They just didn't give it to me. What you think?
I enjoyed the show. I think their sound was good coming out from the start. What I feel like they're missing is FAMU has like that traditional FAMU trumpet sound that's out there and a real good bottom. To me, what they was missing is like that strong, robust baritone third trombone type of sound that brings it all together, just to make it sound real strong and full and solid. I feel like it was missing that, and I enjoyed the early formations, but the was that the symbol. I can't remember what it was, the first symbol, but then they had the two squads at the bottom and the heart moving around. I thought that was pretty cool as far as, giving the people something to look at, but also having a moving part while having sound still facing forward. I think that like little stuff like that is how you can incorporate keeping who you are as a band program and your identity, but also making sure that sound is facing forward. And they got that covered. I agree with you with some of the transitions. With the transitions, I think what we're describing is it's hard for the audience to really connect with a song fully and get that full energy of a song when it's just waving through. And the formations at times are not really sticking to a song or set song. They're moving through formations as they're moving through songs.
Right.
So it gives the audience a different type of feel where it's hard to establish like a connection. It almost seems like one like almost medley almost instead of just that song that they play.
Also, no, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. I'll touch back after you're done.
Yeah. Side note, we could jump right back into FAMU in a minute. Side note, I don't want us to lose the character of the sideline blowdown. It seems like it's just expected now, but like I feel like some of these bands on this list, like they didn't really give it to me at the end. Of course, like they run at the end, like it wasn't like a special moment. So I just want to keep that in mind. Just throw that nugget out there. Like when we do that, All right, back to FAMU. You can close out on FAMU. That's all I got.
I like the Ain't Nobody that they played. I think that was pretty cool. I really like that one.
That's kind of hack though. That's band.
Yes. Yes, that's one of them ones. Oh, but it's not like it's not one of the cheat code ones either, because you're not really getting house on Ain't Nobody.
Not getting house on Ain't Nobody.
So I think they could have been cleaner on the runs, especially too, is because when FAMU do the runs, you polish super clean, cut it with a knife. It really wasn't quite like that this year. The stands. I must give them nuggets for doing something different.
Yes, I always say that about FAMU. They always take risks when it comes to their stand tunes. As far as like new songs, bro, they be on it. New songs, some of they always do that. I always think that the arrangements aren't, as like cranky as we wanted and stuff like that. But they always do play new songs. So I will say that.
Mm-hmm. And this goes into one of my points. I'm gonna put this in like my band theory column. We're gonna put that over in this band theory. I look at cranking like a style of play / language more so than dealing with volume and intensity.
Right.
Intensity is an aspect, but it's not the whole thing. So I hear a lot of these arrangements that don't sound like FAMU plays. It sounds like other people write them and give them to FAMU that have that cranking language in their head, but it really doesn't translate through FAMU because that's not what they practice and how they hear music in their mind.
Right. So, but that's going back to that's their identity of a like program.
Right.
They're not just gonna just play something like just loud and kind of like extra just for the sake of the fact that they're in Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta merge that and make sure it works, because it's like a lot of I didn't write down the names of the song, but I'm like, I can really hear this, but it's just certain like little intangible stuff like how baritones like from Southern or Jackson State would voice that part versus how FAMU would play it. Same notes, same rhythm, just different interpretations of it.
Definitely. All right. Moving on. This is our last band. So it's our last band. I think we gotta get into some like preseason predictions, and then like who we thought won the battle. So Southern. Okay. So how we were talking about bands paying attention to detail and gimmicks and stuff like that, bro. Southern from the jump would be on this type of thing. So again, and it's like they kind of do stuff better than the other bands. And it's like these other bands can kind of like look like, for instance, we talk about Mississippi Valley. Talk about they played the fanfare that was real slow and draggy. Southern did the same thing. It wasn't as long, right? They like sped it up a little bit and got like quick and then turned around and the energy was right. Like as soon as they were done with that song, right back to a fast ass drill, very intense, good trumpets in the beginning. Like they gave the interpretation they was supposed to. Like it made you feel something like as they were trying to. And even in the drill, like after they went right to the drill, they did a little like glide thing where they kind of like, that's something where you can look at and be like, wow, like that's dope that they all had to like do that, attention for the audience.
What do you think about the gospel song?
Come on, man. What is the reigning phrase on this show is that, man, you cannot boo God, and you won't. You will not. So what you're gonna do is when they sing a gospel song, it's gonna make you think about when you was at church with your grandma, and you're gonna pull out your phone and you're gonna start singing.
It was a whole group of like yellow people with the
I saw them. They was doing it before everybody was doing it. Like they really was into it. But I'm telling you, that of course we know like that's the real cheat code. If you want to get house, if you want to, really get thousands of black people on your side is to play a gospel song. But they did a great job. They played Grateful by Hezekiah Walker. That was great too. And again, going into that transition, like energy up. I think that's that may be, like what we're talking about with transitions is the energy in between. Like we really can feel it like dip down and go up in between songs, stuff like that. So it really has to be kind of seamless. I think that they do a good job with intermingling the gimmicks with it and make it flow like a lot better. Okay, I said the slide, the other stuff, the gospel song, and of course they have attention to detail. Like if you're watching, if you're the audience, they had the 4-section like dance off where it's a group, and then each section goes. That's very appealing to the eyes. And they had the big guys come out there and do like the big guy dance, and they end on the split. The male honeybees, they had to come out there and do the thing. Woo! But that was great.
Yeah.
So I feel like Southern did a great job. I probably had them like I said, I think Tennessee State had one of the best sounds of the night, but I think they had the best show just because they incorporate, like if I didn't know band, I think I would enjoy Southern watching them a lot more just because they pay attention to the detail that every band head is not, I get, compared to other bands aren't really thinking about. What you think about Southern?
I really enjoyed their show. What really was difficult for me to just get over in my mind to give them like in that better / great category is I could not really hear them during the drill at all. I heard boom, boom. I heard mostly the bass drum, and I was like, the bass drums don't seem like they playing too loud. I don't know. It was just ringing over the band. I really couldn't hear too much that's going on, but they're drilling high energy, the case flailing, Southern's hitting the plumes on the 8s, high energy. We always appreciate that from Southern. We talked about the gospel too. It really sounded good. What I wanted to talk about is Southern made me think about how bands need to match timbres. And when I say that is a lot of times you have bands that are playing soft, but then you'll hear a couple people have a whole bunch of pops or like clicks just out there like that. And another times you have the bands cranking up and you don't have people in that same type of sound. So I think Southern does a great job of when they're playing soft and they're playing smooth, everybody is smooth together and there's not a lot of abrasiveness in the sound. And when they come out, they really come out together too. I don't think their sound was pretty good. It could have used so much more clarity, especially like I watched NSU right before I watched Southern. So just the difference in clarity was pretty clear to me between those two bands as far as sounds goes. And I heard a lot of like wrong notes is towards the sideline blowdown, but up close to the camera and everything like that. And I think they could have did. It didn't feel like they was really invested in that ending of their show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't really like the side down, like the last song.
Yeah,
I didn't think it really like stood out with me or anything.
Yeah, I just didn't really think they was invested in that. So, I really enjoyed the piccolo sound though. I put that down. The piccolo sound this year is really good. So, years prior, people were saying Southern really didn't have woodwinds like that. So it seems like they've taken note and be like, no, we have all of our people can play. We have instrumentalists everywhere, and I enjoyed that about them.
Definitely. Great. Well, look, let's go ahead and kind of rank these bands. Now, we don't got to do, rank them, all of them. We can do at least the top three. Who we thought had the top three best shows, and we can rank those. I'm gonna go. I say Southern first, Tennessee State second, and then Norfolk State third. I'm excited to see what all these bands do, man. Norfolk State really. What you gonna say? You gonna say them for first? I don't know. I think that was, I don't know. Norfolk State really didn't like, other than the style that they have. It's like it sounds good, but it doesn't really like oh wow, like I have to I gotta record them. I gotta it doesn't really like make you like them if you're a bandhead because you're like, oh wow, the precision and everything is good. But to me, Southern gave a better show, So that's why I put them number one. What'd you think?
I gave NSU the 1 as far as like overall. I have a toss up. I don't know how it feel between FAMU and Tennessee State, and I got Southern. So you can put Tennessee State and FAMU at the, like 2A, 2B. And you got Southern at the 3 for me, and it was difficult for me because I really couldn't hear them during the drill. All the other bands that were in front of Southern, my rankings, played facing forward majority of the time.
Right.
So I really can't discredit them as far as what they gave me versus what I didn't get from Southern. And on the opposite end, I think like I'm not sure what the audience was out there in Houston as far as they enjoy more the dances when they did like the four corner stuff, or they more like, okay, we enjoyed this forward facing sound. For me, I enjoyed the sound stuff more. The dancing really doesn't do anything for me personally.
Sure. Great. All right. Do we have anything for the other bands? Virginia State, Mississippi Valley, just touching on them for the rest of the season. Of course, we're going to talk about them throughout the rest of the season. But anything for these bands? Virginia State, Mississippi Valley, Texas Southern, Langston.
Oh, let's do Texas Southern, Valley, Langston. I think with those three, I will see improvements later on in the season. I think Texas Southern is really going to improve on these field shows because looking last year, they had some really good field shows week to week coming out. Really exciting. I was just based off that and what they showed us last year. I think this was just coming out of band camp. They had to push this out. It didn't seem like one of those things that they really stamped their name on. Like this is one of them type of shows. Valley, I think sky's the limit for them. New band, a lot of people. So what you're gonna do is like blank. It's like a blank canvas. So is theirs to make it out of it whatever they can. And then Langston, I'm really not sure.
Bro, I think Langston has an energy, bro. I like them, man. Like they like a savagey type of band. Like they're like a band that you can tell like their identity is that we made it out there. Like you can tell. I've never been around them like that, but I can tell. I promise you, they have like a we made out the mud type of energy. So I like Langston. Of course, we're excited to see them for the rest of the season. Did you check out any bands on your own? A lot of bands popped out. That was Jackson State versus South Carolina State. We can hit on them real quick. What do you think about South Carolina State?
I enjoyed South Carolina State for what it was.
Yeah, me too. Even though it was smart.
Like, yeah, right. I was like, okay. I was like, that gives me hope in their program. They sounded good.
Very intense too.
And then they stepping out for Jackson State, like wasn't no pushovers. They tried. So I enjoyed what they did, and I don't think I watched a little bit on the field. So from what I've seen on the field, it was okay. Like I really can't complain about nothing, and I just really see them as where they at, and I hope they continue to grow and get better.
Yeah.
So I think a solid start for where they at.
Yeah, and once you play a band like Jackson State in your first game, I mean, just the sky's the limit for your season. You really can take down anybody in your conference. So yeah, what do you mind, Jackson? I thought it was good, man. I thought they were going to be a little bit bigger, but the like we were talking about last year, the high brass sound was great. Still from this year. What you think about them?
I enjoy Jackson, man. I think this is a good coming out season for him. Boombox is early this year, so I really seeing Southern. I'm gonna come back to Southern because Southern in the stands. I think they really stood out as a great band.
Yeah,
but
we'll go back to that.
I really enjoyed the performance. They brought some classics. Sounded good. I think they still growing into their size and sound because they had a big freshman class looking at the merge, and they sounded good, but it doesn't seem like one cohesive band quite yet.
Right.
So I think with this opportunity, playing that, developing the book, and then bringing that aggressive nature because they sure were aggressive.
Yo, I don't need Jackson to backload us, bro. Give us the heat, yo. They played the Scots and they played songs like that. Like, come on, bro. We don't want the like. Come on, man. Like, they do this kind of sometimes. Like, they do that sometimes. Like, where they're like, oh no, we gonna give it to us now, yo. Like, give it to them now. Like, the Scots is old. That's in the same boat as Freak No More. If you want to be honest, right. Thank you, man.
You bringing out your hitters for South Carolina State though, like.
Still though, that's the point. Okay, going back to Southern on the stands. Yeah. Southern, that's the point we're talking about. Like, came to battle. Like, bro, people come to see new songs. People come to see like songs that they go, wow, and they really gave. I feel like, with they played a Travis Scott song. They played another song too. I thought it was great.
Crazy.
Yeah, great. Annihilate, right? Great. So, and to me, like, that's what they really like big dog people, not necessarily like with the creativity of their songs, but the song choice and everything. And going back to I'm sorry, I know we keep switching. Going back to Jackson State and South Carolina State. South Carolina State did a terrible job at that. They're playing doing the butt against Jackson State in the fifth quarter. Like, bro, what are we doing?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Here's the difference between a band like Southern that's bringing new songs to a battle versus y'all that is like playing Jackson State. It is disrespectful to everybody. That's a 0 quarter song,
During the game song, you scored a touchdown.
Right. You play doing the butt. You don't play that in the fifth against Jackson State. Are you crazy? Bro, I'll be thinking that some of these bands are delusional. All right.
Yeah.
So closing out.
Yeah.
Did you see any bands that were like, that you're looking forward to seeing this year? I have one in particular that I thought popped out that I saw that I think is good. There's a new band, Wilberforce University. Okay. You ever seen them? They're out of Wilberforce, Ohio. They had a pop out and come meet us day, and I mean, and they sounded pretty good. They did a field show. It was good. So I'm like, as a new program, again, like you said, Blake Camus, they really get to paint their new thing, and they're kind of starting to lean towards like small cranky band, like a band like Kentucky, like those kind of weird bands with not like too big, like a Lane. So somebody like that, like they're kind of getting in that lane. but but yeah, so I'm excited to see them this year. You have any bands you're excited to see other than Jackson State? You
didn't even talk about A&T coming out. No.
Oh, well, we can talk about that. We can talk about
I didn't see it. I haven't clicked the video yet. But I will say I saw Florida Memorial's performance in France.
Yes.
This past summer. That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good. They sound really good, man.
Yeah.
The Florida Memorial is one of my favorite small bands to just always check out. And what they do that I really enjoy is when they show footage of in the band room and the discussions and the concepts and the way they talk about music and band. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So it just gives me an idea of the mindset that the players are in, the whole staff's in, and you get to just see the whole program. And then on the flip side, you see how that comes out as far as shows and performances and everything. So shout out to Florida Memorial.
Yeah, you can tell they have a great staff. Drew said Kentucky State and Wilberforce would be a great rivalry. That would be great. But yeah, well, guys, we appreciate you guys for listening. I mean, that's all we got. I don't know if we have anybody that wants to come on or join. Maybe this is not, we're gonna work out the kinks and be able to get everybody on who's normally on. And but if not, definitely follow It's a Face Off, and we definitely thank you guys for following the podcast. Crank Up. Follow me at Horatio Radio. Manny, you have deleted socials. Manny's gone straight monk mode on you guys. So you can only catch him here. You can only catch him Tuesday night.
He lagged out. I can't hear him. It's all right, good. I'll let you close it out. My audio went out.
Okay. Oh, you hear me?
Yep, there we go.
Okay, great. I said, well, we appreciate you guys for following us. Make sure you follow It's a Face Off. Follow us individually. Make sure you listen to the replay, and we appreciate you guys. Have a great one.
Y'all have a good one.